There was a major ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court on an issue the 7 News I-team has been covering for years: the safety of the weed killer Roundup and who gets to decide whether it should carry a cancer warning. Lisa Fletcher has that story.
It was one of the most closely watched cases of the Supreme Court term. The justices ruled 7-2 in favor of Monsanto, holding that federal law prevents states from requiring Roundup to carry a cancer warning when the EPA has approved a label without one. The decision could reshape thousands of cases against the maker of the world's most widely used weed killer, Roundup, which has long been scrutinized for being potentially dangerous to human health, tied to its key ingredient, glyphosate. The company has paid out billions of dollars, mostly to farmers who blame their non-Hodgkin lymphoma on Roundup. Monsanto called the ruling good for science, farmers, and industries because it will contain the litigation. But it's been described by critics as a get-out-of-jail-free card. They would shield not just the makers of the weed killer Roundup from legal liability, but potentially every other chemical maker, so long as the EPA clears its label. Attorney Brent Wisner secured the first landmark verdict against Roundup's maker.
The idea that we would take pesticide companies and put them on the same pedestals as vaccine manufacturers and have these liability shields, it's just preposterous. And I think most Americans would find that appalling.
People versus poison!
The case sparked a rally on the steps of the Supreme Court this spring to urge a different outcome because many believe its consequences reach far beyond one pesticide.
Pesticides are manufactured to kill things.
Melissa Perry, dean of the School of Public Health at George Mason University, has been studying pesticides for 3 decades.
The last thing I want to see is for this to be a closed book.
Perry says science doesn't stand still.
I think my concerns are the notion that there's a definitive decision, a declaration, and therefore no further inquiry, no further evaluation and scrutiny happens.
In the wake of this decision, dissenting justices worry those harmed will have little recourse, stating, ultimately, the effect of the majority's interpretation is both remarkable and regrettable, for it unjustifiably closes the courthouse doors. This, as the EPA has faced renewed questions about just how it interacts with an industry it is charged with policing. Recently uncovered emails we obtained show EPA officials met with Bayer's CEO on legal judicial issues as recently as 2025. When we started asking questions, they went unanswered, and the agency took an unprecedented step in our experience, referring us to the Department of Justice.
And it's been a kind of a fascinating journey how this has happened,
Yeah.
because, Lisa, it's not just the Supreme Court that this issue has also been before Congress, even the White House.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there has really been a surprising flurry of activity at the highest levels of government around Monsanto and glyphosate recently. Congress had weighed a bill that would create a similar legal shield. It was ultimately defeated amid outcry. But perhaps the most curious, the Trump administration's push to expand glyphosate production. The administration used national security powers to boost production of glyphosate-based herbicides, which are highly controversial. They're restricted in a number of countries. And now groups are suing for records that they say could reveal what role pesticide manufacturers and other industry interests played in pushing that policy behind the scenes. Also, I want to mention, in just the last few hours, Representative Anna Paulina Luna posting this statement on X. She says, "I will officially be introducing legislation stripping pesticide companies of any liability protections for the harm their products cause the American people. These companies purposefully omit labeling information knowing their products cause cancer and other health problems. It's time they're held accountable. Enough is enough." So as you can imagine, we are locked down on this, Scott, and we'll have a lot more in the days ahead.
Yeah, we've certainly not heard the last of this, and we know you'll stay on top of it. Thank you, Lisa. And to see the rest of Lisa's really important reporting on glyphosate, just go to WJLA.com.